Good afternoon and evening, whenever you're watching this, everybody. Commissioner Ace Coach 704 PEL, Primetime Elite League, taking a look at the offseason so far. I didn't promote this, but if you come on live, shoot your comments out. I'm really just doing this for your general viewing pleasure whenever you're free, since it is Saturday afternoon. A lot of us are in college football, we're out with our families and everything. I just have some time here and figured I'd just kind of do a little quick off-season show. Of course, we'll have the pre-draft show tomorrow night, Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll open that up on the party chat, and anyone that wants to jump on can jump on, and we'll go through all the teams. We'll look at their strengths and weaknesses, and we'll see where they might go in the upcoming draft on Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Alright, so we're up here on the league news screen. That's going to give you a quick little overview of some things that have been going on, and then I'm going to detail those things here when we jump over to transactions. But we see Chris Godwin has been sent from Cleveland to New England. We saw the Patriots talking about that in the chat, and their group of receivers, he feels like it's a good group. You see Ben Roethlisberger has been traded, and I've got some opinions on that. I'll share here in a little bit. Of course, we have position changes in the offseason with free agency open. We'll go through some of those. Carson Wentz is traded to the Colts. I have some opinions on that I'll be glad to share. And then we'll go through all these stories here real quick and see if we've got some other things. Of course, if you didn't know, the Texans won the Super Bowl over the Seahawks, and I don't know why it's not on the news, but whatever. I thought it was a very dominating performance by the Texans. Levi was very deserving to win that game, just the way it played out. And the Seahawks had a great season in their own right. But we all are very excited about the offseason and the draft. I'm very happy with the activity that's been shown with teams making moves. That's what the PEL is all about, team building, making moves, making your team better in the offseason. And I'm very, very happy with that. I haven't really seen anyone not be active at all. And, that is a huge, huge plus as we go into season 2. All right, so we've jumped over to the transaction screen. First, let's go over who's been signed in free agency, and then we'll get into the trades, and I'll give you some commentary, and I'll try to be as nice as I can on that. I offered some opinions the other day, and I got a couple DMs from people, and I said, man, don't take it seriously. We talking about Madden right now, man. You make moves to the best of your ability that you think can help your team. And, I just speak from the perspective of what I would do, and that's all I do. All right, so on this first page of signings right here, the big one that stands out to me is, of course, the Bills signing Deon Buchanan. He's a great user linebacker. In real life, he was a safety. They converted to linebacker, and, of course, having that speed at that position is a good thing. But I will say this. You can, and I don't know how many of y'all have looked at this, and I'm giving out tidbits. If you watch, the streams, you get little tidbits from me from time to time. If you go under your depth chart and go under your sub linebackers, you can put safeties in the sub linebacker position. That sub linebacker comes up in any formation of nickel or higher. And I think, Levi, did a really good job with that this year and putting a safety there to help, cover, in those sub formations where you can do that. Now, you can't do it in your base formations, of course, and, having a linebacker of that ability helps in your base formations. But when you see a lot of 3 wide, our rule is you can play nickel anytime you want. You can play nickel against any set you want to, but when it gets to 3 wide, you can play any defense you want to, including dime, dollar, quarter, all those. And in those formations, you can bring your sub linebacker in. So while I think, guys like Buchanan and your faster linebackers like Griffin and Seattle, they have some, advantages because you can play them in the base personnel. But if you're a big nickel person, look at that sub linebacker package and slide one of those safeties in there, and you can get the similar results as you can with a user linebacker like Buchanan. All right. Dolphins signing Steve Nelson. He's a pretty good corner. There was some competition for him. I think that'll help that defense as well. Let's go past Jordan Mills and look at the next group here. Michael Kendricks with the Lions was a big signing. Once again, another one of those user linebackers that we were just talking about in the same mold of Buchanan. I don't think he's as dominating as he used to be in past Maddens. He's getting a little older now. Saints signing Navarro Bowman. That's a little good under the radar signing. Bowman is a pretty good all around linebacker right there. Let's go to the next group of signings. The Saints also signing Martavis Bryant. He was a big commodity, and he got a lot of money. And, you know, for the Saints, I don't know how much he's going to make the most of him, because she tries to be pretty balanced on offense. And you got Ingram and Kamara, and, you know, Drew Brees is getting older. And, I mean, I'm surprised that he went and got him, especially with Malcolm Thomas there already. But that forms a pretty good combination of two tall guys that can go get it on the outside in New Orleans. All right, let's go to the next group of signings. And then the bad contract of free agency goes to left guard Quentin Spain. 3 years, $25.4 million. I'm going to tell you something. Quentin Spain is a 76 overall guard. And I know offensive line is not that great right now. But I'm going to tell you guys, and if you watch, you're getting another tidbit. You get into this draft class, you're going to find a Quentin Spain probably in the third round. And he's not going to be having to be paid 3 years, $25.4 million. So he's an average guard that got overpaid due to the lack of quality offensive linemen around. But honestly, if you developed your linemen last year and you trained them every week, you can get a halfway decent lineman to that level of Quentin Spain. And if he fits your scheme and you can continue to train him even more, you're going to have guys that are going to be better than Spain by mid-season next year. So I get it. And the same thing with Mitch Morse right there from the 49ers. I get it. At least Morse is a little more reasonable there. You can deal with $5 million a year more so than almost $9 million a year for an average, left guard. I think the Redskins are going to come to regret that contract. But hey, if you have the money, I guess you can spend it. All right, let's go to the next group of signings here. A couple of running backs get big money. Ty Montgomery goes to the 49ers. I know they were going back and forth about finding a running back last year. I saw them make a lot of moves, so hopefully Montgomery fills their need right there. And then you got the Packers signing Tevin Coleman. 4-year, $37 million deal. I think a couple guys had offers on him, but obviously the Packers not happy with the young guy Aaron Jones, so they go out and get Coleman, who's obviously going to get the ball a lot in the Gates offense with those kind of numbers. It's over $9 million a year. All right, next group of signings. The only one that really stands out to me here is I know Ricky Seals-Jones was someone that I think the Cowboys and the Cardinals were going back and forth on bids, and then he decides to go to Dallas. Obviously, Jason Witten not there anymore. That's a big hole at tight end, and they're hoping Ricky Seals-Jones can do a good job in filling that hole. All right, next group of signings. Bridgewater going to the Giants. Wow, 3 years, almost $30 million. Bridgewater is a pretty good player. I'm surprised he got that much money. I guess there was some competition for him, and the Giants were able to win out. I'm guessing Eli Manning retired, and I know he let Davis Webb go. He wasn't that great anyway, so apparently the Giants have their quarterback for the next couple years anyway. All right, next group of signings. Looking over this group, no one really stands out. I think Dee Ford got a good bit of money. 3 years, $16 million for Miami. He's a pretty good edge guy. I guess the Dolphins run a 3-4, so him coming from the linebacker position, he can be a threat on that defense. I think the 49ers signed Ryan Khalil. That's good value. I let Khalil go because I have, another guy I can put in at center. But he's still, his awareness is high. And when you're center, you remember the blocking formula in Madden. Your awareness helps pick up blitzes. And if you have a center with higher awareness, your offensive line will pick up blitzes better. So I think that's an intelligent signing for the 49ers. They got him at a cheap rate. And he'll help that line out for a year. And I guess he'll probably retire after that. All right, next group of signings. Oh, okay. So now I see the Saints let Mark Ingram go. He goes to Miami. The Dolphins are quietly making a lot of moves. They must have a lot of money down there. But he'll help that interior running game especially. The Jets signing Mario Edwards Jr. to that. That's a big contract for that D tackle. He's a pretty good player. I didn't know he was worth that much. All right, let's jump to the next group of signings. Oh, okay. J.J. Nelson. This was I tell you, there was a lot of people going after J.J. Nelson. Here in the PEL, Jeff has made J.J. Nelson a legend with the things he's done with him in past Maddens. And, of course, he went out and paid huge money to bring him to Jacksonville. So expect him to get the ball a lot. And him and DJ Chark will be going deep a lot in Jacksonville with the first incarnation of Andrew Luck. Randall Cobb got good money to go to Detroit to help fill a hole there. Let's jump to the next group of signings. Rashawn Melvin, that was a guy that was coveted by a number of people. The Texans paid good money to get him for a year to help that defense try to repeat. No one else really stands out there too much. Let's go to the next group of signings. Of course, everybody loves Will Tye. He's a fast tight end. You get him into matchups against certain linebackers, he can win against certain coverages. The Chiefs paid him pretty good money. I know a couple of people are going after him. Dante Moncrief, good speed and size receiver, goes to the Cowboys who needed receiver help, so I get that. And then Brandon Graham goes to the Saints. And I look at the points, and I actually had the high bid on him, but he chose to go to New Orleans. So you know what? We just got Darrell Williams we're going to put on his ass for the next 4 years, and he's going to regret going to New Orleans over us because we try to build a great defense in Carolina. And he could have been a part of it, but screw him. All right, so next group of signings. A big one right here is Kenny Vaccaro. I think only one other guy, if maybe one other guy. I don't know if anyone else really bid on him. 4-year, $21 million. That's not a bad deal for him. I know he's a little older and he specializes in a couple different things. But for the Colts that needed really big time safety help, that was a good signing for them. All right, next group of signings. Oh, this is going to be the last group. Out of that group, I guess the biggest name is Arakpo. He's an older guy, playing left outside linebacker. He's got good strength. He's got some good abilities with him still, even at an older age. And that's a pretty big contract for him. But obviously the Bucs had that need, and I think he'll do a good job there. All right, so let's go to trades, and we'll go through some of those. We'll go back to the beginning of the offseason. Okay, so we got this Chiefs-Cowboys trade. We got Allen Hurns going to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are trading a third-round pick to the Cowboys. Allen Hurns is at that age where he's at his peak. He's not going to get any better. I think he's actually might be around 29, so I think he's going to start falling down a little bit. So I think the Cowboys did a good job in trading him here for a third. I think his value is probably more of a late fourth, even a fifth rounder. So, I said in the chat the Cowboys won that Cowboys won that trade. And I still think that. I think that third round pick is a pretty high one if I remember correctly, toward the top half of the third round. So I think the Cowboys got good value there. And the Chiefs, if they needed a receiver with immediate ability, they got that in Hearns, but I think the Cowboys got the better of them in that one. All right, we got a Browns and 49ers trade. We got the Browns trading Christian Kirksey to the 49ers, and the 49ers are trading a third-round pick to the Browns. I'll say it's a pretty even trade right there. Kirksey has some good physical abilities at linebacker, and if you're going to use him, especially in base formations like we were talking about earlier, I think, he can, be a good one for you. And, that's a top half of the third round pick. I think that's solid value, for him. So I think that's a good trade on both sides right there. That's a good job. All right, we got the Bucks Chiefs trade that we talked about. They announced it in the chat, and I've got some opinions. All right, so the Bucks are trading Jarvis Landry to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are trading Tyreek Hill to the Bucks. And then the Bucks are also trading their first round pick in this draft, which is 11th overall, and then the second round pick in their next draft, which is projected to be 43, but you don't know till obviously when you play. Tyreek Hill is one of those guys who I call a nice to have. If you've got, a lot of, good things going on in your offense, you want something to put you over the top, I think Tyreek Hill can be that guy for you. Of course, he does have that elite blazing speed. He's only in his mid-20s, so he's got, 4 or 5 more top years at that ability. So I can see why you go and get him now. And I don't know if he's been re-signed. I hope he's been re-signed, because that would make a lot more sense with the value that's given up here. But he's a 93 overall. Jarvis Landry's a 90 overall. The kicker on this trade, I think, was the picks. Those two players right there. Of course, Hill is better than Landry, but he's not that much better to give up a first and a second next year. I think Hill with the second next year would have been fair. That first rounder, I think, is way too much value right here. I think the Chiefs got the better of this deal, especially when you see how speed plays in this Madden. It can win sometimes, especially against certain coverages like it should in real life. But it doesn't win all the time. Especially if you're playing, max zone like you see in a lot of leagues, including ours. That just takes you over to the next guy. Users will pass him off. Good users will know to spotlight him, pass him off, and make sure he's protected. And, that's going to, be some trouble when you try to force the ball to him. So I think the Chiefs got the better of this deal, for sure. All right, next trade we got the Bengals trading middle linebacker Jordan Evans to the Browns, and the Browns giving up a third-round pick to the Bengals. I don't know a lot about Jordan Evans, but I'm gonna, if I can find my phone real quick, I'm gonna look it up real quick and see what Jordan Evans is all about, so I can say something relatively accurate about this trade right here. The Browns giving up their picks. I don't think they're going to be at the draft. I think that was the motivation behind trading for this guy. But a middle linebacker, if the Browns want him, I'm going to go ahead and guess that he is a guy that has good speed and user ability, because he did ask me about Bud Dupree when I was thinking about trading him, and I changed my mind on that once I started really looking at him. And I'm on Daddy Leagues now, so I'll have an idea about this young man in just 1 second. There he is. Jordan, oh my goodness. So Jordan Evans is an 88 speed linebacker, but he's a 66 overall guy. So, you're trading for elite physical ability, which I get. He's 88 speed, 90 acceleration, 91 jumping. Those are his highlights. He's not very good coverage wise. He doesn't have great tackle hit power. None of that. So he's strictly a user linebacker guy. So, if you're the Browns, your motivation here is obviously to play him in base packages. And you may user him even in the sub package as well. He's got good speed, good acceleration, so I can see the motivation there. I think the Bengals did a good job in getting a third rounder. That was now I will say the Bengals won that trade because a guy like that you have to user. If you let the CPU user him, he's always going to be out of position because of his overall. He doesn't have the play recognition. He doesn't have the awareness. So if you're the Browns, you force yourself into a corner a little bit because if you wanted to user somebody else and with him on the field, you can't trust him because he's not going to be where he needs to be. All right. Colts Steelers trade. All right. Y'all get comfortable for this. So we created Andrew Luck II out of, fairness because of the previous Colts user not being around. Trading him and then going goes like we knew was going to happen as soon as he came into the damn league. But anyway. So the Colts trade Andrew Luck II to the Steelers along with right tackle Ryan Kelly, and a first round pick. And then the Steelers are trading the number 1 pick in the draft, a 4th rounder, and a 5th rounder. Now, the number 1 pick in the draft is a very, 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 very valuable thing. That is the only pick where if you look at somebody and you really want them, you're going to get them. And that's why you look at NFL trade value charts. That's why it has so much value on it. I mean, a ton of value. To get a number 1 pick like this, giving up Andrew Luck II and an offensive lineman in Kelly, and I know Kelly is a good player, and I know they have value, but they don't have that much value. I'm sorry. The Colts, I think, just absolutely robbed the Steelers on this. I know Luck is a good quarterback. But you look at Andrew Luck and you start looking at things. The biggest thing with him is his injury rating. And you can't trade a number 1 pick for a franchise QB that is that fragile. His injury rating is, I believe, 81. And 81 is horrible. And I mean, we're not even talking about long-term injuries. We're talking about injuries that'll knock you out for the rest of a game. And the Steelers had Ben Roethlisberger when this trade was made. And I don't get it. I don't understand why you make trades just to make trades, especially when you have the number 1 pick. You earned it by being terrible all year long, and you give it up for something that you already got. And I think Big Ben is better than Luck. I mean, he's a damn horse. He can take hits. His injury rating, I think, is really, really good. This is just absolute highway robbery for the Colts. Highway robbery. And I'll tell you right now, if we had a trade committee, this would have been the nod. Because here's the thing about it. And I know the Colts gave up a first round pick to go with it, but the number 1 pick, man, you got to realize the value and the power you have with that. It's just not some other choice. It's really, really valuable. And to give it up for this, even though you get a 31 back, which was the pick that came in the Nelson trade from the Seahawks, I'm disappointed in seeing this from the Steelers' perspective. Colts, I think, did an awesome job in this trade right here. All right, so next trade, we got the Texas trading middle linebacker Bernardrick McKinney to the Colts, and the Colts giving up a 3rd round pick for him. McKinney has always been one of my favorite players in Madden because he's a linebacker that has he's 6'4", and you don't get that a lot with middle linebackers especially. He's got 84 speed, he's 89 tackle, 88 hit power. I think he was just re-signed, it looks like, looking at daddy leagues. So, how old is he? He's 26. He's in the prime of his career. He's got quick development. This was a good trade for the Colts once again right here. He's a user guy. His coverage is not that great. But his tackling, hit power, pursuit, play rec are all off the charts. 90 block shed as well. This is a really good trade right here. Obviously the Texans felt like they didn't need him, and I know he uses different guys. But I think the Colts won this trade right here, and if I would have known he was available, I would have traded for him myself. But that's a whole nother story. All right, so the Cowboys trade Sean Lee to the Ravens. The Ravens give up a third-round pick for him. This was a fair deal, I think, on both sides. You know, Cowboys had posted about Sean Lee, and then he said he wasn't going to trade him, and then he ended up trading him anyway. So, Sean Lee's older. I think a late third is fair compensation for him because he's still a good player. But obviously he's not going to be around that long. Ravens are at the, top of the AFC, making the move to win now. And, a late third, I think, is no big risk for a player like Sean Lee. So that's a good deal on both sides right there. All right, next trade, we got the Browns, who've been active, obviously. Trading their first, second, and fifth round picks for the Colts' number 7 pick in the draft. Colts picking up more picks right here. I think it's a good move. Fair compensation. I think the round 2 and the round 5 are good kickers for 11 spots in the draft. I like it. The Colts need more players. The Browns obviously have someone they have in mind at number 7. So they move up and get it. That's a good draft pick trade right there on both sides. All right, so we got the Browns, once again, trading Jamie Collins Sr. to the Cardinals. The Cardinals giving up a 4th-round pick for Jamie Collins, veteran linebacker. I think he's better inside than he is on the outside. I think his speed now is, I'm going to look real quick on Daddy Leagues, but I think his speed went down some. That's why I think he's better on the inside than on the outside. What I'll tell you in just a second. Wow, the Cardinals really needed a linebacker too. All right, so he must still be on the Browns. So let me jump to the Browns here. Where the hell is he? Well, I can't find him, so I don't know. But anyway, I think that's a fair trade on both sides. All right, so we got the Steelers. Oh, my Lord. The Steelers are trading Ben Roethlisberger to the Bengals, and the Bengals are trading a 4th-round pick to the Steelers for Big Ben. And I'm going to tell you right now, Big Ben I know he's old. He's 37 years old, but he's 85 overall, 95 throw power. And you see his short accuracy 91, throwing the run 92, his injuries 92, stamina 95, toughness 99. Daddy League says his value is a late 3rd-round pick. I think, I know it's a money-motivated move here, but this goes back to what I was talking about with Luck. I mean, the Steelers had the number 1 pick, and you could have easily scouted quarterbacks and gotten someone with that number 1 pick who I think would have been the great heir apparent, to Ben Roethlisberger, probably even taking over this year. To make that move and get, screwed like that when you just could have drafted a guy at number 1 and saved all the other stuff that you had, I think the trade itself is fine right here, but that previous trade that's necessitated this, and it was a cap hit, and it's a cap penalty. So I just hope they make the most of it. All right, so now we've got this trade. We got the Eagles and the Colts trading. The Eagles Eagles trade Carson Wentz to the Colts. And they also trade a 4th rounder. And the Colts give up the number 1 pick in the draft. And the Colts give up a 3rd rounder as a kicker. So obviously, you see the draft picks there. We got to look at Carson Wentz to make sense of this. And I know, he's a very good quarterback. And I'll tell you in just a second. He's still on the Eagles roster here. So let's go to Eagles. There we go. Well, where the hell is he? Why do we have disappearing players? That's weird. Anyway, once again, the number 1 pick has a great value. The Eagles can obviously get a quarterback at that position, if they choose, or they can go a different route. But, getting that, for Wentz and a 4th rounder, Wentz is very good. He's young. The Colts have their quarterback of the future, and he's going to be there. I think he's a really good player. I like this one. I like this trade better than the other one that the Steelers made with the number 1 pick. I think this is more in line with accurate compensation. So this is a decent trade. I think the Colts might have been able to get a little more, with the number 1 pick, man. But I like it. It's not as bad here, for both sides. And let's see what the Eagles do now that they have the number 1 pick for now, anyway. Maybe they trade it too. All right, and the last trade that has been made so far, we've got the Browns trading Chris Godwin to the Patriots, and the Patriots trade, a 1st rounder and a 3rd rounder for Chris Godwin. And, Godwin was in that trade last year from Tampa Bay, so he's been moving around a good bit. And to me, I think that's a bit much for Chris Godwin. I think the Browns got the better of this trade right here. I'm going to try to pull Godwin up if he's on here. It seems like some guys have been traded and hadn't gone through daddy leagues yet, and I got to update it. And I will do that here in a minute. But, wow. I think the 3rd round kicker definitely didn't need to be there. That's for sure. I think a 1st rounder for Godwin is, okay, he's here. Alright, so he's 23. He is young. He's got quick development. His trade worth is a mid-round 1st pick, which is what's on here. That's why I say that 3rd round kicker didn't need to be included. But 91 speed, 93 acceleration, 97 injury, 91 catch, and he's got some good route running skills. The Patriots really wanted a receiver. I can see the motivation there, but that 3rd round kicker didn't need to be in part of that. So I give the win to the Browns on that trade right there. All right, so that's free agency so far, and that's trade so far. We'll be in this stage for a little while longer today, and then we'll jump to the next advance, where we've got all that other stuff going on. There'll be more combine results, scouting, and then the last stage of free agency. Right now you see the top 100 on free agency, and a lot of guys have bids on people, and it's really good to see the activity of everyone in here being active, participating in free agency, trying to make their teams better. A lot of guys have bids on them. Everyone's been in compliance with the 50-point rule on bids. Haven't seen any bids below 50, so I appreciate everyone complying with that. I'm just scrolling through real quick on the top guys to make sure. And really, in my experience, no one under 50 has signed in the test leagues that I did, or the one time I went through free agency in the other crazy-ass league I was in for a brief period of time. And on all these bids, as you can see, everyone's in compliance, so that's much appreciated. Good job, everybody. And And then tomorrow at 7:30, we'll be back with the pre-draft show. We'll go through all the rosters, and we'll do our analysis. And if you want to be a part of that, just jump on. I'll open up the party chat, and we'll just scroll through the teams, and we'll have fun, man. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Appreciate it. We'll have more. Later on the day, the other draft stories will drop. I'll put those in breaking news, and then I'll put them on the website as well. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good Saturday.